Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Peace Dealer, and welcome to the monthly Peace Report for Sagittarius season 2021, Road to Apotheosis. In fact, let me actually change the title. I see what y'all mean now. This should actually say Blast Off. So let me change that. My apologies. All right. So if you refresh the page, you'll actually see we have Blast Off. Boom. And once again, for those of you who are unable, like Angelique, to watch this live, we will have the replay. You will have access to this link indefinitely. So no worries there. And outside of that, thank you all for joining me whenever it is you watch this. Uh, this is definitely a season that I've been looking forward to because this is definitely about to be that lit, that important, that legit. Shout out to StreamYard. StreamYard just updated their service to where I can actually upload my PowerPoint slides. So there we go. Once again, Sagittarius season. Shout out to the Sagittariuses who've joined us. This is a very, very exceptional period where you will, as this is a mutable sign of vision and change, see the change between your dynamic with other people and with people who are, as Libra is the balance, on the positive scale of their relations with you, ascend to a higher level in glorious fashion. With people on the negative scale to you, you will literally triumph. A Sagittarius is a victory sign over ascension, over the mechanisms and methods to bring you down to their level. In this ascent up the mountain and journey coming to here, you've faced difficulty, you've overcome difficulty. And in this development of your character, you're going to see intimately how much more you see through projection of negativity, which will be evidenced through that square to Neptune, the metaphysical influences that help you understand telepathic or visual experiences in your relation with the social collective as an individual. And this will feel weird at first because the same influences you may have felt intimidated by, or essences that may have created conflict or trouble for you, are going to be the same influences who you tower over, who you break through considerably, and who, for all intents and purposes, will be looking up to you and being even more intimidated and expressing, insecurity from you. And it may be, for some of you, it won't be hard, but for others of you, it may be a little bit difficult to kind of get used to being in that position. Don't worry, this Capricorn season will make you very comfortable in that position. But personally, seeing this will be quite interesting. Hearing, and sensing a more subdued opposition against you. What you want to maintain, just like we said in the ritual, is to not allow yourself to be brought down to that lower negative vibrational state. Shout out to my Aries here and my Leos and Sages. That does not mean that you don't have to clap back at somebody. Okay. So you've been lied to and made to feel that your passionate reactivity to experiences is low vibrational and egoic when people just need to stop messing with you. Okay. They need to remember you're the fire. So you can react very passionately and still be high vibe. Just make sure in your passionate reaction, you don't bring hatred out. If you tell somebody out, do it with love and let them know that you still are maintaining your high vibe, but you still gonna go in. Okay. Just so you know. So, and I'm saying that because I feel like, fire signs are made to feel like you're angry when you're just passionate. You know what I mean? So other than that, let us get into this webinar, as the message and lesson for this season is blast off. Okay. Be very mindful because this is a victory transit. There's really little to nothing that's going to be bad about this transit. The only thing that could be very challenging are the sore losers that you will inevitably have to deal with because this is a victory transit. And so, relative to this transit of victory that you are most definitely stepping into, what this facilitates in a certain level are people who have an inability to accept that you've ascended to this position and that you have leveled up. And so you will deal with vibrations and people who are completely sore losers. Like, instead of, they don't have to congratulate you, but instead of even indirectly acknowledging this, they're going to still continue forward with these narratives with which no longer apply to you. See, before they did, because it was a contention spot. You were both, you were minding your business. They decided to make this a winner or loser thing. It all backfired on them. They decided to make an enemy out of you and were determined to win over you. And not only did they start the fight, they lost. And that creates the recipe for sore losers. This is actually going to be hilarious. Like, you see Jessica laughing in the comments. This is going to be your reaction because now the conflict is over. It's no longer a struggle to have to like balance this negativity. You've ascended. And so, to see this at this higher level now will give you, just like the mutable sign of Sagittarius, an ascended perspective. And I feel like this is going to break you through so much conflict. I love the Sagittarius women are laughing in the chat because Sagittarius, this is going to be your attitude. Like, what used to tick you off, you're going to see the psychology behind it. The 12th house Scorpio, the hidden psychology. Damn, I love Sagittarius. It's such a boss vibration. It's such a fun vibration. I love it. So keep that in mind. Even though fixed signs are vibes. This is the season you definitively blast off. And now that we're still within the new moon region, we are in the space of the actual blast off where we have just blasted off. This is the new moon. We're now at this space, at the atmosphere. By the time the moon is in Aquarius, we've blasted off into space and we're in space. We're in the orbit, outside of Earth's orbit, in space. Okay. So it's something, to really keep in mind moving forward, because where we're blasting off is not only uncharted territory, but we're quintessentially ascending the perspective around our greatest selves, what we're capable of accomplishing, and you literally seeing yourself raise to the next level and gain accomplishments. Be very, 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 very careful, because during the season, you'll see people who have no business wanting to share in this success with you, You can get the strap, show them the blicky, be like, if you don't want me to blast this off in your face, go away. Okay. But other than that, I hope you enjoy the news that we're going to share and the information that we're going to share in this webinar. It is definitely going to be very helpful, and I look forward to your feedback. If you're ready to blast off into newer and upgraded, advanced, multi-dimensional aspects of yourself, welcome to the Sagittarius season, concurrently happening while Jupiter finishes out its Aquarius and finishes its cycle. And feel free to comment any fire sign emojis so we can share in your excitement. That being said, ascension is the act of rising to an important position or a higher level. His ascension to the ranks of pop star, right? Ascensio is the Latin word. And ascension, of course, is correlated to the ascent of Christ into heaven on the 40th day after the resurrection. Even though it's supposed to be the third day. So I don't know where 40th is coming from, but whatever. We can call that a Mandela effect. Ascension is the textbook definition of Sagittarius. Gemini is enlightenment. Virgo is mastery. Sagittarius is ascension. And it is this ascension that leads to the transcendence of Pisces. And so when we think about ascension, we think about, of course, as the definition says, going from one level to the next. This is why the Scorpio season was the road to apotheosis, where we are purifying and transforming in Scorpio so that once we've completed the transformation, we can now step and break through into the next level. This Sagittarius season, not only will you ascend to the next level, relative to where Sagittarius is in your natal chart will let you know where you will ascend to the next level. And this is going to take a year's worth of mastery of your skills and abilities and talents, your attitude and behavior, and put you on the way of life and philosophy towards taking to the next level everything that you're good at doing, leading into the transcendence 4 months from now that will have you completely make obsolete everything you've known to be true and done up until this point. And so a little bit more about Sagittarius. Whereas Scorpio is a social water fixed sign, Sagittarius is a collective fire mutable sign. Sagittarius is the first out of the 4 final God signs, and as such is collective. In its collective essence, as evidenced by philosophy, it portrays and relates to everything and everybody. And so as the collective fire sign, which gives vision, this, of course, is representative of the eyes of God, the all-seeing nature of God. And given it being a fire sign, this added passion goes a long way towards putting you in a position to very creatively burn the element of excitement that takes you on an adventure of passion and discovery. Hence, Sagittarius being very adventurous in its desire and wanderlust to understand and experience the meaning of life through experiencing multiple different cultures that enable it to realistically expand its presence, as we do see, of course, this element of the ruling planet Jupiter realistically tapping you into so much of, once again, this expansion. And not just this expansion, but also this nature of how realistically you're in a position as a mutable sign to change your perspective through this exploration. Once again, coming into what house Sagittarius is in for you will key you into, of course, what or where in your life this ascension will come into, as well as how. That being said, this is still very revealing because with that vein, a lot of how you personally tap into so much of this wisdom and understanding will lead you into so much discovery moving forward, that not only are we ascending to the next level through this, but This is also relative to your supernatural abilities, getting ready to open up the God level of, are you ready? Your ascended self, as well as your abilities. So, definitely something you want to keep in mind as relative to this, what you'll be in a position to really gain from such, oh, there we go. What you really gain from such a evolution of yourself for the very first time for many of you will put you in a position to actually now take certain abilities or a mindset or an aspect of yourself you've had your whole life and now take to a higher level with which you'll practically begin to use in IUs of Capricorn. So basically, in a few short, like 12 days, you're going to ascend to a higher level and take an ability that you have had and use it at this higher level. But this is the season where you see it come into this higher level through the synchronization. That being said, fire signs are going to be ascending their self worth and image. Aries with the vision in the ninth house that is going to bring to the higher level their philosophy and really take to the next level what adventure of discovery they're going on. Leo is going to ascend their creativity as this is in their fifth house. Okay. And Sagittarius is going to ascend their creativity. Okay. So that being said, this is definitely going to go a long way towards how through this season you take to the next level as fire signs your self-expression. Earth signs are going to be ascending the vulnerability and water aspects and houses in their chart, where we'll see Taurus ascending their level of intimacy through the eighth house. Okay. Virgo will be ascending their inner private world relative to, of course, the hidden meaning that as a critic will be established. And then we will also see, of course, Capricorn ascending their spirituality in the 12th house and exposing the unconscious habits that may block them from fully tapping into this spiritual perception and beliefs. Air signs are going to be ascending their connections with other people and their communication ability. Gemini, of course, ascending their relationships to the next level, as this is going to be their seventh house. Libra ascending their attitude, as this is going to be their third house. And Aquarius ascending their friendships and communities, as this is going to be their 11th house. Water signs are going to be ascending their earth houses as Cancer will be ascending their lifestyle as Sagittarius is their sixth, which is going to be very fun. Cancer's, your whole life is going to change. Scorpio is going to be ascending their finances as this is their second house and you're going to be in the money. And Pisces, you're going to be ascending your entire career outlook. This is going to be somewhat life-changing for you as well, as you not only have Sagittarius in your 10th, but also the South Node as well. Oh, yes. So, keeping that in mind, it's definitely amazing because, once again, moving forward, a large part of how you realistically tap into so much of this energy, wow, moving forward has so much to do with this unprecedented sense of how miraculously you enable yourself to jump and leap outside of your comfort zone. Okay. And just to speak a little bit about this, before we go into the transits, I would like to share a little bit more about the significance of you coming into the Sagittarius season. I'm basically going to go a little bit more into the transits, and let me actually just show you a snapshot of the flow of how that will actually look like. Interesting. Moving forward. So if we actually go back to the beginning of this transit here, right? We of course see the sun moving forward. But one of the trends I want you to see is, of course, the sun will be sextiling Saturn and Jupiter. It's going to be squaring Neptune. It's going to be closing quincunxing Uranus. And it's, of course, going to be trining Chiron. We're going to see Mercury enter Capricorn after the conjunction. And at the tail end, we're going to see Venus retrograde. And of course, this is going to coincide around the full moon in Gemini. Okay. So, what I wanted to bring to your attention regarding that and relative to that is mainly that this is not like Sagittarius season of 2019. This is not necessarily like Sagittarius season of 2008. This Sagittarius season is coinciding with Jupiter that since 2010 has made its way through Aries, out of Pisces, and into Aquarius. Jupiter, of course, rules Sagittarius. And so the relation of Jupiter's expansion of collective knowledge through who you're meeting and through who you're collecting with is going to, in its sextile, give you knowledge of everything you're experiencing. I would say that is the most amazing facet of this Sagittarius season, where every year we ascend to the next level. Every year we ascend our perception. Every year we take to our the next level our understanding of magic and ascended magical experiences. But this is going to be the first year in near 30 years, and then again 12 years with Saturn and Jupiter, that we actually know what we're seeing. And this knowledge is a culmination of previous experiences that we've had. Next year's Sagittarius season, Jupiter is, I don't even think it's going to be in Pisces. Jupiter is going to be in Aries, actually. Okay, Jupiter will be in Pisces. Jupiter does retrograde in December. So it goes direct. I want you to see how the sun is going to be square Jupiter at the tail end of Pisces. Very powerful. So that by Capricorn season, it's in Aries. Okay. And that is iconic, ladies and gentlemen. That is so iconic. That is after we come into this completion of the Jupiter cycle. Everything that you're coming into the culmination of knowing this year and knowing how to bring all your skills to the God level, this next year is completely transcending the knowledge of what you've come into this year and becoming, all right, this next stage. For example, You have got, let's take this, because Sagittarius is higher education, right? So let's use the whole analogy of college. Let's say 2010, you were a freshman, even though it's like a 4-year program, right? Let's say 2010, you were a freshman when we began this Jupiter cycle, versus now, okay, you're at the very last grade. Jupiter's in Aquarius, and you're getting ready to graduate. From being a freshman to a senior, you've gained so much experience. You've ascended every year to the next level. But the senior year is where now all the knowledge you gained from since a freshman, you actually know what level you're coming into. You actually know how to apply all of that. Okay. And once you graduate, right, you come into your degree. And so let's say 2020, 2021 was the graduation. However, 2023 is the year after you've graduated. And let me put that in context. What's the difference between a doctor who just graduated and got their PhD versus a practicing physician who is a year, 2 years into the craft? They're both doctors. They've both done residency. But one person has been a doctor in an actual office with their PhD for a year, whereas one person just got the PhD. They have the knowledge, but one person has experience. Bam. That's 2022. The Jupiter and Pisces final cumulative experience where you become the doctor. Yeah, you've graduated. You've had experience through residency and internships. You've actually have the knowledge. You've been tested. You passed. You're a goddamn good doctor. But 2022 is when you actually become that practicing physician. So that by the time we step into Jupiter and Aries, 2023, and the sun is in Capricorn, boom. Now you're stepping forward as an official doctor who has had an entire year of real practice. I feel like, did you get chills just now? Like I got chills. Like, does that resonate with you? Because this is huge. That means right now, this very moment, you are literally on the precipice of breaking through considerably in relation, okay, to this nature of a lifelong's worth of leveling up. And, you know, a lot of you are coming into perfecting your craft. A lot of you have been in positions where you spent a long time serving other people with your skills and abilities, whether that's as a Reiki healer, a tarot reader, an astrologer, an insurance agent, a tutor, a mechanic, okay? And so at this stage, in proximity to this Aquarian energy that's connecting you to the world around you and the sociological understanding of humanity around you, which is huge. Now you're taking your skills where your whole life, maybe relative to this new cycle, you've been in a psychic shop, you've been in a tutoring place, right? Now you're ascending to the next level. Now you're not just doing tarot readings for $40. Now you're reading an exclusive board member of Fortune 500 companies tarot cards, and you get taken to these board meetings. Now you're outside your comfort zone. You're used to reading, you know, single mothers in their 30s, 40s, or because that's the only demographic that would come to you, versus now reading literally the opposite, you know, older men who definitely call so much shots in the world. And I hate how sexist that sounds, but like, keep that in mind, because now you're in a totally unfamiliar place, but your skill sets are still fire and your abilities are still on point. It's just who you're connecting with and how is totally different. And now you're bringing your expertise. Now, because of your position there, you're able to change and influence the type of people who are at top. Now it's not just older men who are at top. Now, because you paved the way, people who look like you can start to work in these positions, even if in different contexts. And you're now changing the nature of where you're at. This is huge. This season is where this change is going to happen. By the time we step into Capricorn season, the first day of Capricorn season is you in that boardroom instead of that psychic shop, using your skills, but at a much higher level. The president buys a reading from you on the low and asks you to give a reading for how, what decisions to make for the nation. Totally different level. It might have to be discreet so no one knows. So the tabloids are like, president consults tarot reader. But this is now the ascended nature of where you're going with this. You may have been a musician who has done open mics, and you've developed your skill set on the mic for years. Before, you were a little nervous performing in front of a crowd. Now you can rock a crowd. Now you can go into any venue and rock a crowd. Now you can go into any coffee shop, pick up the mic, and freestyle and get everyone's attention. Now you've been scouted by an A&R, and they want to see your skills at a festival. And so you're not just rocking coffee shops. Now you're rocking Madison Square Garden. It is a totally different level. You're using those same skill sets, but you're expanding the nature of how much more incredible you use them. And so one of the major facets of this season is, in the space you were at before, you couldn't use your full power. You had to limit yourself. You were just in a coffee shop. You couldn't do backflips all over the place because the room was limited. But in a festival, you can. You can now express the full range of your ability in this ascended space, in this ascended place, and with your ascended face. I just wanted to rhyme. But yes, so that is something I definitely want you to keep in mind. The square to Neptune is going to help you understand metaphysical influences that shape your perception of what you're seeing. It's a fancy way of saying you're going to see the unseen. You're going to start to connect the dots. And because you know what you're seeing, you're going to know what is real and what's a ghost. What is your thought and what's telepathic. Your experience has gained through wisdom, Scorpio, a deeper understanding of this. Whereas when you first started out, you didn't know how to disassociate and discern this, but you do now. This is huge. This is so amazing. And secret balance, that's amazing. Okay. So other than that, the sextile to Aquarius is going to take this ascended vision, and you'll immediately see what communities you can connect with to expand this vision. And the insights you gain, you will immediately see the knowledge that expands the understanding of these insights and what exactly to do through Capricorn to reach there. I personally think, because I was waiting for Virgo season came through. And just like Virgo season came through, I feel like Sagittarius season may be the best season this year. This might be the end of the year finale we were all waiting for. Okay. Mind you, Sagittarius is now the last of the breakthrough season. You have 4 seasons in a year. The third season of the year, whether northern or southern hemisphere, is the breakthrough arc. The Libra, Scorpio, and Sag. After the foundation laid from Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, and then the integration and mastery of the foundation of new sparked abilities and ideas that gain perfection in Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, we now break through and ascend to the next level, Libra, Scorpio, and Sag. So Libra began the cycle of breakthrough. Scorpio intensified and transformed it. And Sagittarius is where we see and experience a said breakthrough. For those of you wanting to break through in your exercise, for those of you wanting to break through certain habits, for those of you wanting to break through certain connections, for those of you wanting to break through your life, we're here. And not only are we here, now this is post new moon. It's happening. Tap someone next to you, even if it's an imaginary presence, and say, it's happening. Okay. And so now that we have activated this new moon cycle, as I will consult this chart again, the activation of this new moon cycle is going to manifest on the 5th and 6th, where we unlock a legitimate treasure chest that's going to awaken literal superpowers because Sagittarius has superpowers. All right. And then the next stage of this activation is the 3rd house, where we flesh out the knowledge of the power we activated and what vision you're seeing. This is going to be the knowledgeable attitude of this activation. And then we have the 1st quarter square that ends the activation and begins to now integrate into the full moon. And so with the new moon, you have the activation coming into the 1st quarter square, and then you have the integration coming into the full moon. What are we activating? Ascended magic, ability, and breakthrough. The 1st quarter square after this activates is now you've activated it. And so now you need to understand the metaphysical unseen influences of what you just activated, so that with that, you adjust your perception and then you integrate it. For example, we plant the seeds, they start to crop as they activate, but now you realize, oh snap, I'm getting an intuitive hit that, something I'm not aware of is affecting these crops. And so in the full moon, I have to adjust the way I water and nurture them. What exactly will be this intuitive hit? You will see it, Sagittarius, coming into that 1st quarter square. And so with that being said, we're going to have the full expression through Aries anchored in your identity. This is where, coming into the literal 6th house, we fully integrate the practical nature of everything you manifested tangibly in Capricorn, that you're now maintaining the groundedness in this behavior and routine in Taurus. And then you step into the true nature of this transit with the full moon. That's going to step you into the legitimate harvest of the activation of this vision. And so you're harvesting the true understanding of the magic you've activated in your ability to now, from Gemini to Virgo, integrate that ascended perspective into your society. It's in a fancy way saying you're going to activate literal superpowers, and then you're going to literally see how to use those superpowers towards others. And it's just going to be super gnarly. This is kind of like Libra season, where we activated a new cycle of partnerships with superpowers. But now Sagittarius is taking those activated superpowers and ascending them to the next level. So we have ascended superpowers of those superpowers. And I'm saying superpowers a lot. But that being said, now that we've gotten that out the way, let us get into said relevant transits. The 5 relevant transits we're going to have are, Dr. Strange time, the Sun conjunct the South Node that we start off with, the Sun conjunct Mercury, the closing sextile that we'll have to Saturn, the closing square to Neptune, and the closing sextile to Jupiter. That being said, the conjunction to the South Node will revisit what Venus did during Scorpio season, if not Libra, I believe, but I believe Scorpio season. And this is going to give you an awareness of the vision of the true destiny that, when the North Node meets with the Sun in May, will manifest in full grounded quality that is tangible and real. And so come the 23rd, this really highlighted a much more ascended awareness and perspective of this 5-month arc and cycle that is going to take this higher vision of what the truth looks like in your life. And this is what has facilitated the preparation coming into the new moon of what instances are being prepared for you moving forward that will lead you into this next karmic and destiny cycle and transit. 1 degrees especially, which is an I love degree based on step astrology, but also correlated to Aries. If we use another astrology degree system. So that opposition to the North Node in Gemini is alignment with truth. And that slight square with Neptune is the doubt that comes with whenever you make any vision or goal, any opposition or resistance through this. Be very mindful of the rhetoric against what visions you have, because the opposition against this is not based on anything real. You see how there's nothing in Virgo? There's no facts that will have people disagree with you. It's just people playing contrarian. It's just people who don't want to agree with you. It's just people who feel weird about what you're doing. And so they're projecting their insecurity on you because your vision makes them feel uncomfortable because they're weak and they're stupid. All right. So keep that in mind, because relative to this vision that you have aligned with truth, this new moon is you activating it right now. So think about what you were thinking of and seeing the 23rd as the next important, of course, was this conjunction to Mercury that we're still in the process of activating. We know that Mercury in Sagittarius is the Eight of Wands. And so relative to the Eight of Wands that we see here, this is activating such magical epiphanies that ascend your perspective to your brain's ability to process the quick breakthrough and ascension of your perspective, and the greater way to communicate much of this too. In relation to the ascension of your perspective and ability to see magic on a higher level, the square to the moon in Virgo, which rules Mercury, aligned your receptivity to details in order to adjust the perception of this. So if you've ever seen a camera where you adjust the perception and it gets blurry and then it gets focused, that's what that square was. You were adjusting the focus so that it was blurry opposite Neptune and Pisces. But then when it focused at the higher perception to where you can see so much clearer. And of course, where this is in your chart will let you know where you experienced this. Very gangster transit. This now led to November 30th, the sextile to Saturn. That closing sextile to Saturn is the completion of the opening sextile to Saturn that we had in Aries. That opening sextile to Saturn, late March into April, after the conjunction in Aquarius season, initialized this karmic cycle by opening the doorway into the individual actions that define your character relative to this anchoring of karmic collective authority that solidified the groups and collectives that influence your individuality, and the karmic lessons that really saw this through. The opposition to Leo completed that conjunction by taking this attitude of your character and fully fleshing out the creativity with which your heart can match the intellect in this opposition of this karmic lesson. Overcoming any challenges that don't allow you to authentically show up as yourself in relation to whatever limitations Saturn brings. And so 11th house now in Sagittarius, you're sending the higher vision of this karmic authority. And this is showing you where in these communities and in this strengthening of your clique, you belong, because now you've ascended your abilities to the higher level. And so this is enabling you to envision exactly where these ascended perspectives belong and with who. This is also ironically around this period, through these perspectives, bringing a lot of what you've wished for into fruition, stepping you into a higher level of satisfaction. And we have to note that it's even though it's not an earth sign, the grounding nature of Saturn that facilitates this. In its square to Uranus, the closing quincunx, remember we had the opening quincunx in Libra. And so your relationships with other people were beginning to transform because of the manifested unconventional abilities in Taurus that you're applying to these relationships. So now you're using your master tarot card ability to transform your partnerships with others because of the context with which it provides so much greater ability and usefulness. Now the closing quincunx is transforming the nature of your abilities. Let me repeat that. Your abilities, Uranus and Taurus, the manifestation of these unconventional abilities, Uranus and Taurus, transformed your partnerships. Now this ascended perspective is transforming your manifestation of abilities. Because through the completion of this transformation in Scorpio, now that you've transformed your partnerships, how you see higher due to the results of this is going to transform how you use these abilities. Because now you can see that you can do so much more now that you've ascended this to a higher level. And that was gained through the context of your relationships with others, using those abilities, and then realizing you have to transform the way you use them through the actions taken to gain that experience that you're now ascending in Sagittarius. I can't really denote enough how important this quincunx is, which is active right now because the sun is 12 degrees. So the new moon that we had was actually quincunx Uranus. This is transforming your entire ability to manifest your routine. And with Uranus here, this is going to make so much more magical the nature with which you can bring out of thin air your intent into reality. Welcome to, like Jessica said, Magician Squad Assemble. Welcome to the Magic Ascension cycle, where you are now definitively post new moon, ascending and changing every way you do everything, applying this ascended perspective to this unconventional manifestation of your value, so that you can bring to a higher level this relationship with your physical body and how you ground this higher vision. Next, we have coming into the 11th in 7 days, the closing square to Neptune. And with this closing square, what this does with Mercury in the third decan, subruled by the sun in Sagittarius, will shine very brightly a breakthrough in your overcoming illusions and confusion that collectively has been pushed in front of your face. If we think about the narratives and the collective illusions 6 months ago in Gemini season we've been given, especially around, what's been happening in the world, which I don't want to say the name of, and also personally in your life, where the expression of your truth may have been twisted because of this Neptunian influence. Now, completing this square is going to have you ascend out of that illusion. It's going to have you expose and uncover everywhere you were lied to. This is what I mean by understanding the hidden metaphysical influences, the unseen experiences and dynamics that will, with the light of this subrulership of the sun and the shining quality of Sagittarius, shine through from above into the depths of Pisces, giving you the meaning of what's occurred. And just to give explanation of that, because we had the Virgo season that analyzed the deception, Virgo season was able to bring receipts that were basically like, hey, you told us A, B, C, and D. Well, this is actually what happened. G, E, F, and D. G, E, F, and Z. You told us A, but G happened, and here's the receipt for that. You told us that people who do this would happen, but that happened, and here's the receipt for that. Hence the opposition to the collective illusion that evidence through media posted false statistics to where real analysis through Virgo came through. And so Sagittarius is the synthesis of those stats, the meaning of those stats, the meaning of everything Virgo analyzed and exposed. You're going to see into that higher meaning. You're going to see why you were lied to. You're going to see why the deception was expressed like that. You're going to see why spirit showed you those synchronicities. You're going to see why you have this special connection with who you have this special connection to. And I think this is going to be one of the most important transits of the year. I'm actually personally a 20-degree Gemini sun. So for any of you who are 20-degree sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mars, Mercury in Pisces, Sag, Gemini, or Virgo, you definitely want to be mindful of this day. It's going to reveal a whole lot through you. Another aspect of this closing square is the understanding of how to expand out your comfort zone, the vision of your abilities. Because the metaphysical axis is going to show you the spiritual realm and astral realm connection of your abilities to otherworldly beings. If this was a Virgo square, we will be looking at how your abilities impact real practical experiences in your social world. But that's boring. We don't care about that. What we care about is the metaphysical, baby, and the abstract metaphysical definition of what Mercury will have your brain process with the awareness of the sun and Sag, to where some of you could be seeing ghosts in a new way for the first time. Because now with Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius, you actually know what metaphysical understanding of experiences you're seeing. Whereas if we didn't have Neptune here, you can understand that there's a ghost in the room, but you won't see it. But now you'll know what you're seeing. Okay. And I'm using ghosts because ghosts are sponsored by Pisces as their metaphysical beings, extra dimensional beings, and the works. Then, of course, we're going to have the closing sextile to Jupiter after the full moon, where Venus will go retrograde. Venus retrograding during the sextile to Jupiter, where we expand the knowledge of this higher philosophy, is going to get ready to very quickly reorganize and resort our relationships with other people in the implementation and manifestation of the power we are ascending. Because mind you, Mercury, Venus, and Pluto here, second house to your awareness in Sag, is Venus polishing the manifestation of these awakened superpowers. By this time, Mars is in Sagittarius, and so there's further passionate action towards activating this. But we have to really take into account this closing sextile. This is the completion of knowledge that with this ascended perspective, we're coming into the full understanding of how much more knowledgeable we're breaking through into uncharted territory, where you have mastered performing. You're getting ready to go to Madison Square Garden, and you're expanding and seeing how much more people you're going to perform in front of, as opposed to just performing in a coffee shop. I love that analogy. That's so fire. And so with that being said, this now steps us into the zodiac signs. Aries rising, Aries suns, and then any of you who have Aries energy, you're ascending your cosmic vision. This, of course, is the 9th house transit that will bring you to a higher clarity and level. You're ascending your philosophy, while Neptune in your 12th house is transcending the beliefs with which will allow you to change the nature of your philosophy, as you'll be releasing very powerfully, and amazingly, how your beliefs have been influenced by unconscious habits that you'll now see into. And with Jupiter and Saturn in your 11th house, how you can find friends that expand the vision of your attitude that you have and take it further. than ever before. And so with that new and full moon, you'll be releasing old ideas that really propel you into a much higher philosophy that you can share with the community around you at large. With Taurus, this is ascended breakthrough, as Sagittarius is your 8th house. And we do have Saturn and Jupiter in your 10th house, Taurus. And with Saturn and Jupiter in your 10th house, this is enabling you realistically to very, very, very strongly establish your legacy. This is giving you a transformation of the perspective of your career upgrades. And with the square to your 8th and 11th house, this will transform how much more you trust valuable people in your circle of friends. Neptune in the 11th could bring bad influences, but Sagittarius will show you who's a good influence and who you might need to cut off. This is going to be very pivotal with Venus retrograding in your 9th that will take this awakened transformation of your philosophy and now polish how much more practically you can share this with others and manifest with this as well. Gemini, you are stepping into ascended partnerships. And so with this new moon in your 7th house, this is opening the door to, through partnerships with other people, bringing your life to the next level and vice versa. The square this is going to make to your 10th house in Pisces is going to challenge how these ascended partnerships make the dream work through teamwork, and whether these partnerships frustrate your career goals or add to them. With Venus retrograding in your 8th, this is going to transform the level of intimacy and how much more powerful you deal with others, as well as open up so much more wealth and investments through the dealing of other people's resources. So great time to make investments. However, this ascension of partnerships that you are experiencing with other people will expand sextile your 9th house so that the knowledge around your angelic being will expand relative to where these partnerships help you see the knowledge of yourself higher, as this will prepare you for the 10th house transit. Okay. So be very mindful, because there's a lot of amazing partnerships that with the South Node will carry past life or early childhood lessons for you to break out of. Agreed, Lilac. So for Cancer risings and Cancer suns, this is an ascended lifestyle. Cancer moons, you may feel this, and you're going to bring to the next level your daily routine. This is going to add so much more passion to how much more creatively you live your life. And because this is going to sextile Saturn and Jupiter in your 8th, this is going to expand the knowledge with which, as you change your lifestyle, the knowledge of how you deal with others transforms your entire life through this transformation transit. And Venus, it's going to retrograde in your 7th at the end of this cycle, is going to prepare to reorganize all the people you're partnering with. It's going to prepare for you to grow more powerfully with a partner as you reorganize and resort yourselves to get together, or for you to show up more powerfully in your relationships now that you are tapping into this advanced level of boundary drawing. Very pivotal here. It's definitely going to go a long way towards how much you've grown. Shout out to you, Sanchia. I really feel like this is going to be fun for y'all, because every way you do what you do, there's going to be a fun, exciting, adventurous way to literally pimp your lifestyle. Your entire life is going to change coming into the next 6 months, where you will release unconscious beliefs around the thoughts of your lifestyle. And so the square this makes with Pisces is going to challenge how you integrate this ascended lifestyle with the divine beliefs that have you see into the unseen as high priestesses and high priests. Very amazing. Next, we have ascended creativity. And with Sagittarius in your 5th house, this is going to bring to the next level how much more creatively you're in a position to express your talents and how much you bring to the next level everything that you're good at doing. Let's say, for an example, you're a producer who knows how to make really awesome beats or music. This is going to bring to the next level how much more talented you make your music. And with that sextile to Jupiter and Aquarius in your seventh, with who? You're expanding your talents. And now you're bringing that expanded talents to so much extraordinary, influential people in your relationships who are like, yo, you got better. Let's work. Let's build. Venus retrograding in your sixth house in Capricorn is now going to reevaluate how much more incredible and luxurious your lifestyle is now that the talents you're integrating into that lifestyle have evolved to the next level. Leo, this is going to be very fun. That square to the eighth house, however, is going to challenge who you can trust with this expansion or evolution or ascension, rather, of your inner child and how much more intimately you deal with others. It's just with Neptune in the eighth, there's a lot of shadiness here. So be careful who you trust. And because we have Uranus in your 10th house, Leo, this is going to influence the unexpected windfalls of income and job title you're manifesting as part of your legacy. Okay. Virgo, Sagittarius is your fourth house. And so, like every year, you're unlayering another level of this hidden adventure. And as a critic, of course, critics unveil hidden meaning. And Virgo has fourth house Sagittarius. Fourth house is hidden. Sagittarius is meaning, hidden meaning. Hence, you're the critic. And so this is very important because personally, this is going to ascend the deeper understanding out of your comfort zone into where you're from, but more so the foundation of the inner vision that with the North Node in your 10th house aligns you to the truth of your career. Virgo, you have Neptune opposite your sun. So you're going, or rising. So you're going to be dealing more with the projection of others' insecurities to your perfection and to your mastery. And really, this is just an expression of how jealous and hurt of you they are, because you may be in a position they didn't want you to be in. Very petty, very childish. But this is also you kind of breaking through your relation with your inner home, your inner self, and how you ascend the nature of how you bring this more creative inner passion in the square to Neptune to these people, how you bring this inner growth and how that influences your divine partnerships. Virgo, I'm really picking up, you're going to have a lot of salty people around you, a lot of people who are passive aggressive in the way they deal with you, and how you're just going to be sunning everybody, putting everyone in their place without having to say a word. So just keep that in mind, because relative to this aspect, this is definitely with the sextile to now Aquarius in your sixth, going to knowledgeably take this ascension of your inner world and apply that into the advanced techniques in your routine and lifestyle. With Jupiter, that is expanding how much more cosmically advanced your day-to-day routine is, which Virgo risings are winning for that reason alone. You're pimping out your lifestyle, the collective, and other people's lifestyle. All right. And Saturn is solidifying this, so that with Uranus that squares that in your ninth, this unconventional nature of your philosophy is integrating with the advanced cosmic nature of your routine and behavior. And of course, with the trine that this will make to Chiron, with this ascension of inner comfort out your comfort zone, you're going to deal with others more vulnerably with Chiron and Aries. You may have to cut somebody. Other than that, you really may have to cut somebody, because people be treating you like the Virgin, and some of y'all are gangsters. And see, Virgo is kindness, so you lead forward with kindness, and people take that kindness for weakness, and now you have to bring your knife and literally cut somebody because they think they can like touch you provocatively, and now you have to kick them in the nuts. So now we have ascended attitude with Libra. And with that being said, This, of course, with Sagittarius in your third house, is going to bring to the next level how you communicate your ideas and literally your attitude, your outlook towards life. Sagittarius third house is the reason why Will Smith and every Libra just sounds more inspirational than they have to when they talk about something as simple as washing the dishes. That really trips me off too. Like the Libra will talk about washing the dishes and they'll somehow make it like this inspirational 5-minute infomercial. You know, you just have to never quit and just keep going. The suds on the dishes really show a lot about you and how you can scrub. It's like, bro, you're just talking about washing dishes. Like what? Like why am I so inspired to clean my kitchen right now? And then I realize it's a magical ability. Like Libras just know how to paint pictures with their words. They're artists, but it's just like next level. This is ridiculous. Like I've never seen anything like this. But this is where this is also your skill sets. The third house is the house of your skills. The third house is also the house of teaching and learning. Well, ninth house is teaching, but third house is an aspect of learning. But also, I feel that because Sagittarius is a teacher, you're teaching people certain things. Maybe you might be on an Instagram page sharing, nuggets of wisdom around cryptocurrency and teaching people. The way that which you do that is going to be so ascended to the next level that this might actually simplify your ability to break down complex topics and do it like a total boss. So just really keep that in mind, because not only is this going to literally ascend the perspective around your skill sets with which you show people, right? Aries will, and no, let me not do Aries like that, because Aries shows and tells. But, whereas Aries has the third house, Gemini, Libra has the third house, Sagittarius. And so this is going to bring what you're good at doing at a skillful level to ascend to the next level, and also prepare for you with the Venus retrograde to understand the mechanism behind private actions in your family and private life that will shake up any resistance relative to how you, square your rising or sun, express yourself. This is really just going to sort through any family issues or drama that need to be sorted through. This doesn't have to be really bad. This can actually be really good for wealth because of the opposition to your 10th house Cancer. Just be very mindful of that, because with the square to the 6th house in Pisces, Neptune is having you live your dream life. There's really no other way to see this. This is a supernatural dream life. This isn't a normal dream life. Everything that you're imagining is actually happening in your lifestyle. And if not, you're either blocking it due to doubt, or you're not believing in it, because Pisces is I believe. And I hope this sounds really abstract, because this is crazy. There's nothing normal about the fact that you can imagine about what you're going to do, and you're supernatural. But that makes sense. You literally sit next to the gateway of the gods. And so your ascended attitude is now having to integrate with this dream lifestyle, because the way you see how you think is evolved. And so the way you imagine your lifestyle has to match that. Okay. And this is just going to be magical AF. This is going to be a pipeline leading into March where you fully integrate that. And of course, with Chiron in your 7th, this will go a long way towards applying this attitude vulnerably and assertively in your relationships with other people. There you go, Libra. Scorpio, Sagittarius is your 2nd house of finances. And so this is going to bring extraordinary, with the Aquarius influence in your 4th, financial 2nd house Sag breakthrough. So it doesn't matter if you're broke. Actually, there's no such thing as a broke Scorpio, because you all have the sauce. And so you either don't have any money in your bank account, or you do, but you're all rich. You're all saucy. I just had to make sure we're clear on that. So whether you have no money in your bank, or whether you're like uncomfortably wealthy and just like you have all the money in the world, you're still breaking through financially, especially in how you consolidate your finances and how you change your perception around your finances. Because 2nd house Sagittarius, Scorpio, your real value is freedom. It's not really about the money. It's about the freedom you have to do whatever you want, and the freedom you have to have whatever you want, that in some cases money can't buy. But if you wanted to convert to money as a pure king or queen, as pure royalty, you got the bankroll. Okay, so EFB, extraordinary financial breakthrough. This is amazing because the first tenet of this breakthrough is ascending your self-esteem and confidence. And so that square to Neptune in your fifth is going to influence how much more creatively your inner child channels from the divine, because you've ascended your confidence in yourself. This is going to inspire you to share more of your heart. And that opposition with Uranus in your eighth or in your seventh is going to unconventionally challenge how this transformation of your or how this ascension of your self-esteem transforms the energy with which you manifest in your partnerships, because you now are more confident in what you see in your self-esteem. And so you're going to bring and manifest that confidence into these grounded, unconventional partnerships. And of course, because Venus is retrograding in your third, you're going to reevaluate the development of these skill sets incredibly that are awakening, and how you organize who you use them with. And this is very important because Jupiter is getting ready to come out your fourth. Many Scorpio risings and Scorpio suns may have moved or renovated their inner worlds. This is you coming into an understanding of your cosmic ancestry. And personally for your family, but spiritually, how as a collective or social being, you connect with the rest of the collective. Okay. And so this is going to be very amazing for money. And I love that Jessica mentioned her partner is a Scorpio rising. So being that your partner to her, you're directly affected with this too. And that's really awesome to look forward to. Okay. I just want to emphasize once again, with this nature of the square, this is going to fundamentally change how you create and how much more confident you are in your creations. And so there's going to be great breakthroughs when it comes to the money you're making relative to a new project, or really overall in your financial acuity. Sagittarius, as we step into the final God signs. Sagittarius, you are unlocking your ascended self. And this is very important because given that Sagittarius is, of course, your first house, this unlocking of your ascended self is very much so tied to the South Node that is in your sign. And so every 10 years, you unlock a higher ascended level of yourself because you have the North Node in Sagittarius, and you return to yourself. And then you go along that adventure and you complete that return and take this return to yourself and this destiny realization of your ascended self. And then you go to North Node in Gemini 10 years later and you truth blast that to other people. And so as you do that to other people, the reaction and response from other people unlocks more of your ascended self through the experience gained. Then we come back around 10 years and then 10 years, boom. And so this is unlocking another layer and level, because there's levels to this, infinite levels of your ascended self, of your ascended self-expression, of yourself as an ascended being, of yourself as a collective fire goddess and God that is able to show the vision to the world, and the responsibility that comes with you actually shooting these arrows into the collective and unveiling this greater level of truth. But as you go to sleep and go home in the astral realm, this is going to challenge with Neptune in your fourth, the metaphysical understanding and the inner soul world understanding of how this unlocking of yourself enriches more your inner world, gives you a greater understanding of your inner world. Let's say you were very inhibited around how you dim your light and shine towards others. But now you, right, and your inner world reflected that. You definitely couldn't access everywhere in your inner world because you didn't shine your whole light. And so some places in your inner world were dim. Well, now you're unlocking your ascended self. You're deciding, nope, flipping the switch. I don't care if you're uncomfortable. I'm going to shine. Now you're seeing that uncharted territory in your inner world. You can see, you can explore more. And now you're going to understand more yourself and how you express that.
The sextile to Aquarius is going to take this ascended self and this new cycle towards the greater discovery of this in chapter 3 and expand more your cosmic skills and your extraordinary attitude towards the knowledge with which you express relative to your ascended self, and how you teach people this higher knowledge relative to the conversations you have and the more serious collective conversations that really unveil how knowledgeable you are. Mind you, Sagittarius rising in Sagittarius, this is enabling you during this period with Jupiter and Aquarius to evolve to the next level, your cosmic skills and cosmic telepathy and ability to communicate with cosmic extraterrestrial collective forces. A lot of people don't know that. Sagittariuses can have full-on conversations with entire galaxies as a collective god goddess being or as a collective ascended being. Ask them. They'll tell you. Y'all might think they're crazy. They know how to play it off, so they make it look like they're talking to themselves. But like, actually, I don't feel like they care. I feel like they don't care if anyone sees it or not. But like, right, the telepathy is already there. So word to Jessica. So just keep that in mind, because once again, with Chiron, that's fifth house to you, this is going to really illustrate how much more creatively you're willing to express this nature of your inner child. Okay, so we have that sextile of the third and that understanding in the fourth, that this is just going to have you tap more into yourself. But this is very important, because this is a new moon with the south node and a full moon with the south node, which is quintessentially in conclusion with this nodal chapter, unlocking you. All right. And this is going to make Gemini very key too, because that unlocked ascension is what you're going to direct towards Gemini in order to express that truth. Capricorn, we step into ascended transcendence, as Sagittarius is your 12th house. And so this is going to unlock the unconscious habits that get in your way of aligning your behavior and lifestyle with truth, but also bring to the next level your spiritual beliefs and your spirituality. This is going to transcend the vision with which enables you to see unconventional, extra dimensional phenomena in your experiences, because you do have the third house Pisces. So your attitude and the way you perceive your immediate environment is Piscean. And with Neptune here is blending the astral realm with reality, as your ruling planet Saturn rules 3D. It rules the material reality. And so you're able to anchor both. This is very important, as that square between your 12th house and third house as a cardinal sign will challenge how the unconscious nature of your spirituality and beliefs influences your attitude. The sun there is going to make you aware of maybe overthinking or toxic patterns that get in the way of you really believing in the dreams that inspire your attitude. Because this is a form of reality warping, Capricorn. With Neptune in your third and Capricorn rising, this is enabling you to it's an extension of Libra. Basically, as it's just a more powerful version of Libra, whereas Libra has to sustain more of the application of their attitude in their behavior and make it a lifestyle. Capricorn, you just have to think about it. Everything that you're thinking of in your attitude, you're reflecting into your reality. This is GOAT level power. This is the power of the greatest of all time. This is like the peak. And so a lot of your doubt, the consequence to this is, if you spend a lot of time in doubt, that's also going to manifest the negativity. So this is where you have to have the responsibility to own what you believe. And so the unconscious beliefs that influence that, and your ability to now integrate this ascended nature of your spirituality into your attitude, will really also develop these divine skills that are playing out. And with Venus retrograding in your sign at the end of the season, this is going to begin to polish your appearance and also how you tap into your own self-expression. And we still do have the sextile with, of course, Aquarius in your second, which is manifesting the monetization of your network and expanding the karmic authority of your own finances. And this is going to ascend how those spiritual beliefs expand more so what you manifest through the knowledge of your word. Very powerful. very powerful, especially with Uranus in your 10th, in your 5th, that you're going to really unconventionally manifest. And with this change in spiritual perspective, transform how much more unconventionally you manifest through your inner child. Aquarius, we have ascended friendships, as Sagittarius is your 11th house. And so, what this is going to do, which I think is going to be really fun for you, Aquarius, you are the hub, you're the plug. Like Leo is the plug, but like with the 11th house Sagittarius as the celestial plug or as the narrator, this is putting you in a position to very extraordinarily ascend to the next level, gang culture, but really your friends, really your acquaintances, really your associations, and really your hopes and wishes, because Scorpio season solidified success in your career. And so where that success belongs, you're going to actually see in the form of colleagues that promote and expand forth your vision, as Jupiter is in your sign. And so that sextile to Saturn and Jupiter is going to expand your self-expression based on friends who show up and align with who you are, who identify with you, and help bring you further into this very expansive evolution of self. Because your second house of self-esteem is manifesting divine transcendence with Neptune in your second, that square to the 11th house of other people is going to challenge how this ascension of your friendships influences your self-esteem. And the psychology and science behind the 11th house and second house square is, I have my friends and then I have what I have. So what I have is going to be valued differently by my friends and community than how I may value it. I may write a book and I may think it's okay, but then my friends may think it's the shit. And so now my influence, my self-esteem around my own confidence is influenced by the 11th house. This is why the opposite of the 8th is the second. There's what I have, and then there's other people's resources. And so the 11th house in between that is the collective's relationship between their resources and my resources, and who I trust with my resources. It could be the other way around. You could think your book is the shit and your friends could think it's all right. Are you going to let your self-esteem be influenced by your friends? This is that balance that this is going to not only portray, but because the 11th house is gains from career, and then the second house is your possessions, the 11th house is like the gross income that your career gets. And then the second house is your net income that after the 12th and 1st, you come into take from the 11th into your second. And so this is going to, of course, if you come into an ascended collective of people who subscribe to what you do, that's going to expand how much money they can send you, because you have more people paying for what you do, or higher quality of people. So this is actually going to be really good for money, Aquarius. We are going to have Venus retrograde in your 12th, which is going to reevaluate the unconscious sense of your spiritual path and how the actions taken there actually reorganize the supernatural power that goes into what you do and how you do it. And so finally, we have ascended career breakthrough, because for Pisces, Sagittarius is the 10th house. I can relate with this because when the South Node transited my 10th house in Pisces as a Gemini sun, that was when I worked for Astrolata. And my entire career around that period changed, although I was also going through a full moon progressed transit and a 10th house solar return. I can attribute that South Node in the 10th to being very instrumental into unlocking my career and perception around it to lead into that. And this is what's going to happen to you, Pisces. Be careful about the naysayers who, once again, they're not in a position, like you've definitively proved wrong their opposition to you. And so they're just playing sore loser because they can't be in a position to accept that you know what you're doing or you're right. They're just going to hit you with this passive aggressive negative energy. But they're also going to be so disappointed when they realize that passive aggressive manipulation does literally nothing but just wrinkle their face and make them look stupid and ugly. And so this is going to bring exceptional career breakthrough, because this ascension into the vision of your success and career and what it's supposed to look like is going to unlock in its alignment to the hidden truth of your fourth house, where this career success can lead into a true home space. And that's how the 10th to the fourth house works. If you think about it, you come into career success and that added money goes where? To you in your home. And then that foundation is the platform with which you can go out into the social and come back into the career. Boom, just broke that down. And the reason why this is so very important, very amazingly, is with that sextile with the 10th house to the 12th house, this career success and consolidation through the 11th in Capricorn, that with Venus retrograde will resort and reorganize the friends in your life that you can share in this success with. That 12th house Aquarius expansion is releasing unconscious habits, but also expanding the full becoming extraordinarily of the spirituality and the knowledge of your spirituality that with Saturn you're anchoring before this goes into your sign and you start a new 12-year chapter as a Pisces rising, or evolve your spirit as a Pisces sun or soul, as a Pisces moon. The square to your 10th house and first is how you identify with this career success. So it's like, okay, before you started this transit, you worked at a cookie shop. Then after you stepped into the new moon, now you're the CEO of like every cookie shop ever. Now the way you identify yourself is not as someone who works at a cookie shop, but a goddamn boss. And to adjust to that ascension. And this is so awesome because, like I said, that Venus retrograde in your 11th after Saturn went through and tightened your social circle is now going to reevaluate who's left in your social circle and show how much more you seek to gain from the usefulness and practicality of your social circle. That's going to, of course, lead into Chiron in the second, which is going to heal how much more powerfully you manifest, and moving forward, prepare you for the Jupiter transit of your life. That being said, thank you guys very much for tuning in. We end Sagittarius season off with golden integrity in a position to realistically map out the full integration and transformation of the incredible power that goes into the manifestation of this ascended perspective practically into the greater world around you. Welcome to the third boss battle, where you will show everything that you are made of in a position to actually come into self-realization, put everything together, and step into your greatest power. And like I said before, this is where you're no longer performing in hole-in-the-wall bars or coffee shops. Now you're in Madison Square Garden, baby. Now you're ready for the big leagues. Now you've taken this ascension into the next level, and you're getting ready to ground it practically and make it real. Remember, Sagittarius is just ascending your perspective. And so what direction do you go in after you ascend that perspective? Join me during the Capricorn season webinar, and we'll break just that down. Okay. So in conclusion, the Sagittarius season, I think, is going to be the best season of the year, because this is a culmination going to bring to the next level everything you've grown in relation to a 2010 cycle of Jupiter coming out of Pisces, evolving us for 11 years. And now with that sextile, you're going to know everything you're seeing. And so I don't know how else to say this. If there's ever a period where you will see visually the evolution of yourself and abilities getting ready to be applied, it's over the next few days coming into Capricorn season. And in the term and notion of superpowers, you're ready to actually take certain skills and abilities to the next level in ways that will challenge how you actually shift and change status quo and controversially change the meaning of things that people have always assumed were true, but were never true. Thank God for the North Node, and thank God for you. Y'all stay blessed as always. Thank you so much for the feedback. I really hope you enjoyed this webinar. Feel free to comment below if this webinar was informative. Did you like the format of it? Do you like the PowerPoint? Okay, shout out to Jessica. Please feel free to claim this victory. Do you like how we break down the transits and go through the signs? Definitely want to make sure that you are spoken to with this. All right. I'm glad you actually like the PowerPoints. I'm glad this is super informative. And we hope to continue to bring this format as we gain more support doing this. We eventually will host free giveaways, or we will host, free giveaways upon coming into this webinar. We'll also bring back special guests. The more, people that we have to join these. Okay. So honestly, this is my favorite part of this, y'all feedback. Please understand this makes my whole day that this PowerPoint was very informative and helpful to you. The whole purpose of this is that basically you walk out of this webinar ready to apply this and that this information is accurate. We see a lot of return faces here. Y'all are the best. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to end this broadcast. Y'all stay blessed as always. And until next time, peace.